me. Threw your arms in the air and said you're crazy. 5 days since you tackled me. I still got the red burns on both my knees. It's been 3 days since the afternoon. You realize it's not my fault, but a moment too soon. Yesterday you'd forgiven me, and now I'll sit back and wait till you say you're sorry.
Conversations with Lockdown Level Up, day 7. First week, Danny, almost done.
Almost there.
See,
Becoming a part of my
28
morning
days.
routine.
28 days was a long time. It's not, it's just 4 weeks. It's just 4.
We just have to do this another 3 times now.
Easy work, isn't it? Easy. So, good morning, listeners. Good morning on the live. Today, we're going to talk about derailment. Often when you set out, I think, Danny, on you've set out your mission and you can start really strongly. You feel like you're invincible.
On top of the world, yes.
On top of the world, and you finally conquered this. You've got everything, all your ducks are in a row.
Smooth sailing.
And then something happens that you've not accounted for in your plan. It's not been you've not even planned for this thing to happen, and it's sent to throw you off course.
And it's just come in and slapped you right in the face.
Yeah, and that happened to me yesterday, and I had to hold really strong. And I'm so pleased to say I did. Yeah, there was, and the thing that almost threw me off of was my no alcohol. I'd got, and it's funny when it comes sometimes because I'd done 28 days. So it came on day 29. So I'm like, how much of that it was even more of a test? I'm not a big believer in like spirituality but I am sometimes a believer in fate. And this thing was, I think, sent me to make me almost go, I've done 28 days of no drinking. I can do that. It's fine. Let's go and get some beer. And
it's like fighting the big boss.
Yeah, you got to, it was.
Yeah,
that is such a good analogy. I got to the end. I'd done all the easy levels, and I got to the big boss at the end. And thankfully, I won. I did not go to the shop and buy alcohol. And so
nice lad.
It's it just made me think how when you are sometimes you're so determined you can let these things not get at you, but it would have been so easy to not to let it come in and make me go, and I would have been sat here with a hangover this morning feeling feeling shit, probably still feeling shit about it, letting the emotions, where actually it's past now.
Yeah, and that's when you recognize that how strong you actually are and the growth and how far you've come since, let's say, day 1 as opposed to day 29. So yeah, it could have been a test, it could have been fate, but either way, if you smashed it, it just makes you feel even better now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's there's so many things that could have stopped. Like I think we were saying the other day, we might never have got to day 6. If you don't get to day 6 because you quit. Yeah. You could have stopped me, like, other things that happened. I had a Zoom call with a friend. Meant that I just didn't stretch till 11:15 at night. But I still did it though. But I still did my stretching.
Yeah.
So then I got to that, meant I'd done that for day 3. There's sometimes when you're trying to change a few different areas, it cannot just. I think that's why I said maybe let's talk about it being derailment, because it's not just one thing. It can throw everything. Yeah.
Well, it's the same as lockdown if you look at it, and in terms of fitness, I mean, you've got let's say you've been going to the gym for a few weeks and now all of a sudden we have to go back into lockdown. You're like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I need to go, I need to get all these weights, I need to do all of these things, and you think that can be derailment, when actually you don't. You just find a different route, or you find some way to handle it. Whereas, so let's say for me, because I'm a weight trainer and the gyms are closed, I can focus on other things now, like stretching, mobility, running, you know, improving my cardio and things like that. So when it comes to derailment, you can find a way to adapt to it, or find a way to tackle it head on, as opposed to having a victim mentality and just giving up and saying, that's it, I'm done, I cannot carry on after this. It's just picking yourself up and finding an alternative solution, or just a solution just to move on.
If you can't go under it, you have to go over it. If you can't go over it, you have to go around it.
That's
if those
very
three
true.
options aren't there, you have to go motherfucking through it.
Drop that mic.
I think it has a nursery rhyme, but maybe without the. Maybe without the
What's up on nurseries?
So yeah, so just I think my message to people is, you know, when that happened, I was like, no. I just said no. This is not going to throw me off.
You have a
But
choice.
I understand where everybody is in journeys and how it's different. What's the advice that, you know, where have you seen it? Have you seen it in your fitness? Have you seen it in?
Yeah, I think in terms of fitness, it's easy to have an off day where, especially if you're feeling tired or low on energy, or, you know, we also tend to attach food to comfort as well. So it does make you feel better. But if you have goals in mind and you're on your own fitness journey and you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to just kind of eat healthy, then you can sort of see a derailment if you're having an off day. But the important thing to recognize is, number one, you can have the option to say no. So if you have something to do and you have a goal that's set in mind, and you've been trying so hard, you've been pushing every day, the only thing that you can say is no. People think that you have to give in to these signals and things, but you don't actually necessarily have to. You can actually fight back and say, no, I'm doing well, stop distracting me, I'm just going to move forward. And then you just find a way to deal with it, however you do that. So yeah, that's how I see derailment as. And also we can play a victim mentality, or we can fight and overcome it like you did, where you said no, and you tend to realize that you actually feel far better than if you were to then just dig into your emotional eating side and then just lose all your inhibitions. So I think you need to weigh out the feelings, that emotional attachment to something, and how you would feel had you handled it better. And I think if this one is better than the first one, then obviously you know which one to go for. And for me, I would always want to choose the end goal. Although it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot of willpower, and it takes a lot of self-talk, if that makes sense.
So it certainly does. I think first of all, sometimes is recognizing it happened, accepting.
Yeah.
Okay, that happened and it made me feel like X. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay to have that feeling. You're not blocking the feeling of it.
You're acknowledging it, yeah.
But you're not also then letting that feeling become stronger than what you were on your list.
No, you don't want to let it consume you, because once it consumes you, that's when derailment could take place, potentially.
And I think the win, the feeling you get from defeating that is like a real like tick in the box.
Yeah.
It's a real like, do you know what? Today I won. Yeah, I won. When actually, if you had that thing come in and it's derailed you, and it won, that feeling can last for, you know, days, weeks.
Days, yeah, it can. That's why I always try to think of that feeling. I always try to attach myself to that feeling of winning. It's like if you really want a nice car, right, and you take that car for a test drive and you feel how great it feels and it feels amazing, and you then all of a sudden you're like, right, I really want this feeling to last, then you would kind of walk away thinking, I'm going to work so hard to get that feeling so that one day I can drive that car, and every day I can it will probably wear off, but I'd have that feeling. You know, it's that emotional attachment to winning and achieving that goal. I think that's what would keep me going.
Yeah, I like that analogy. You need to attach yourself to that feeling of winning, because that's what makes you feel even better, and you can go back to that again when the next time something comes in. You can think back to, no, hang on, the last time something like this happened, I did this. But I liked how you said earlier that actually lockdown in itself is, can be seen as derailment.
Yes, it's thrown us all off. Derailed us from our traveling plans, or maybe our career plans, our fitness plans. But all we have to do is just stop and just pause, and then figure out how to go from there. You can either go that way or you can go that way. You know, it's all how we choose. It's all about choices.
One of my favorite coaching questions to ask is, what else? So when I've asked somebody, a question like, so what could you, when I'm dealing with a problem, I said, well, what could you do? And they say, oh, I could do, I could go out for a run instead. If somebody's, lockdowns happened and they've been doing a certain training program and it stops, what could you do? I could do running. And I say, what else? Oh, I could do stretching.
Yeah.
And then what else? Until that person is sat there looking into the sky, because then it shows you that there is still choice. There is lots of options. You just have to pick which one fits best.
Yeah.
And whichever one you pick still might not work. You go back and you try again, because actually doing that thing would have helped you move forward anyway.
Yeah. Either one would. It's the same with how you handled yesterday. You could have, going to the shop, buying booze and drinking alcohol can be a solution, don't get me wrong. But what else? What else could you have done? So
it's where I didn't do it was, I thought, well, hang on, is this going to make me feel better about the situation, or is it going to make me feel worse about the situation? And I thought, it's going to make me feel worse, because it's going to drive you should never drink when you're sad, is what they'd say.
It's a depressant, isn't it?
All alcohol does is heighten whatever emotions you already have.
Yeah.
So I knew, I was just like, hang on, this is not gonna. And I thought, am I gonna? Because I said when I break my drink, when I stop, because I've not stopped drinking for good, and that was never the reason for doing it.
It's just a good streak you're having.
Yeah, but I said when I break it, it was only going to be for the right reasons. And I think that was something I thought, well, hang on, this is not breaking it for the right reason.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something to recognize, is when you put your plan in place or you're replanning, you say, what things am I going to allow myself to break on this? Because, so there'll be certain levels of things. So then when stuff happens, you can think, well, no, it doesn't fit within those things. No,
it's not what you value.
It's not what you value.
Yeah, 100%.
What's more important to you?
I think it's important to note out that, even though you do a lot of personal development and you're a coach yourself, that you're able to then pull you out on your own bullshit and say, right, I need to handle it this way and not this way. So I think a lot of people think that even if you're doing self-development and personal development, that you get your high and you're like a preacher of some sort, but it's actually not like that. It's not always right, good, or bad. You still have to have these inner conversations with yourself, and there is that conflict that always comes with it too. So I think it's really noble for you to mention things like this, and not portray that your life is great and that you have all your shit together all the time, because this is what makes you real, you know. This is why I like to work with you.
It's, well, thank you. It's, yeah, it is. I think it's important that we're all, yeah, trying to, you know, and when you get better, there's another level to go. You level up. You know, and then you get there. There's within that process, there's going to be stuff thrown at you. You know, there's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days that you just feel like you cannot be bothered. But when you move past those things, that's when your other stuff seems to start happening. And then, as you said earlier, then you've had a win, so you're feeding that, and it's you get another win. But yeah, life is not peachy sometimes. I don't think there is perfection. I don't think there's the holy grail.
No, I don't think there should be perfection either way. So.
And, yeah, it's the same in fitness. You know, people go to a PT thinking these guys like must be, you know, chicken and rice. Yeah, and there are some people that can manage that. You know, but often there's I think, like, you know, some people talk about the influencers and you say, yeah, they might look good on Instagram, but when you see them at home, you know, putting whatever up their bum for steroids, or, you know, they've got this addiction to that, they've got the developed eating disorders, there's so yeah, perfection is not always there to be achieved, but
no,
yeah, I'm always open and honest. I think that's one thing I always try to be, is you will get to know me as much as I'll get to know you.
Yeah, it's good. It's very transparent.
It's a good way to be.
And on that note,
we'll wrap it up. Speak to you tomorrow for day 1 of week 2.
Yes.
So have a successful Wednesday, Danny.
You too, Ali. Have a great day.
You've got your running hill sprints to go and do, because I gave those to you to do. And what am I going to do? Burpees. Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah, only 100 burpees, so that's fine. I'll just get them done.
No, not too bad. Do it while the kettle's boiling.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, everyone.
See ya.